In this video, I'm going to ask the question, who is the better running back? The legend in Barry Sanders, or a rising superstar in Saquon Barkley?
Sanders up the middle and then zip. He just up the seam and then see ya.
One right back to Barkley in a huge hole. Saquon Barkley off to the races.
You may be asking, why am I doing this in the first place? And my answer to that is, why not? We have two generational talents. The only difference is one has played their entire career, while the other has only been playing for a bit. The comparisons don't seem to end for the two, as they have a very similar skill set and ability that makes them dominate like no other. Out of Penn State, Saquon was a projected top 10 pick by many fellows, and crazy enough surpassed the hype by going second overall.
The New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
Anyways, Saquon made the trip to the Big Apple with some big expectations behind his play as a rookie. Although many would fall to the pressure of the situation, Saquon doesn't do that kind of stuff and had over 1,300 rushing yards and 700 receiving as he earned AP Offensive Rookie of the Year honors in a great intro to say the least. Now that he'd established himself as one of the best running backs in the league early on, Saquon was ready to up his production the following season. And his over 1,000 rushing yards and 400 receiving may seem like a bit of regression, but it was only in 13 games as he missed 3 with injury. Even with a limited year, Saquon was able to make history as the only running back to have back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in their first 2 years with the Giants. You would think that Saquon would be firing on all cylinders going into 2020, but against Pittsburgh, Saquon had a career low 0.4 yards per carry. But then somehow the following week was much worse.
Right there, going out of bounds with a little extra push. Barkley down and in pain immediately.
Barkley suffered a torn ACL, and his season was over from the beginning. That was the last that we have seen of Saquon, so it will definitely be interesting to see how he bounces back in 2021. Much like Saquon, Barry was highly touted out of college, and in fact went just one pick after Saquon to the Lions, a team that was seriously considering another Sanders with the first name of Dion. Anyways, Barry Sanders was seen as undersized at only 5'8", but didn't let that stop him as he started off extremely hot with nearly 1,500 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns in only his rookie year. With an insanely good rookie season in the rear view, it's not much of a surprise that Barry was the NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, and quite honestly already one of the best players in the NFL. Although Detroit is not a crazy big market, people knew who Barry was, and so now people were wondering whether he had a fluke rookie season, or he had what it takes to be one of the best running backs in the league. All the talk was silence once Barry rushed for over 1,300 yards, and had nearly 500 through the air as he showed that he can not only produce, but that he was arguably one of the best players in the league. After his sophomore season, Barry put together one of the most consistent careers in NFL history, and established himself as arguably one of the best running backs of all time, in the same vein as Jim Brown and Walter Payton. The comparison is a bit tricky because a lot of this lies on predictions, but just like a lot of players, you can tell what they're made of after a few seasons under the belt. In Saquon's case, it's a bit tough because of the injuries early on, but much more of his future production rests on his determination and hardworking ability than you would think. There are not many players as motivated as Saquon, and you could see that in his ridiculous strength and consistent work that has helped him carry an extremely underwhelming Giants unit. Just like Barry, Saquon has been on one of the worst teams in football for his entire career, but I have a feeling that times could be changing soon. Since the Giants just got Kenny Golladay and now Kadarius Toney, there's going to be a lot less pressure on Saquon to produce, and that's probably going to help quite a bit. It's not like Saquon is taking the backseat, but now he can do his thing without having to carry the entire offense. This is where Barry and Saquon could diverge a bit, as Saquon might get some legit playoff experience with the Giants, as the team is looking to take the NFC East as quick as possible. In pretty much any other division, this would sound like crazy talk, but the Giants have been in contention year after year, although they've had losing records. So if they could win, it will be very interesting. Although Saquon might get more playoff experience than Barry, I don't really think it will matter too much, as Barry has shown enough. Year after year, Barry was on point, and in fact his lowest rushing season was in '93, when he rushed for just over 1,100 yards in only 11 games. Since the league has moved much more towards dual threat running backs, the pure rushing stats will likely favor Barry, but Saquon will likely always have a consistent string of receiving production. Although Saquon will likely put together better receiving stats, Barry was still able to average around 200-300 receiving yards throughout his career. And I mean, it's Barry we're talking about. There's not really many holes in his game. In terms of areas where Saquon can excel over Barry, it has to be his strength. Not only can Saquon rush for crazy amounts with his solid speed, but he can also break tackles and use his killer strength in the trenches. This isn't to say that Barry can't do that stuff, but Saquon is one of the strongest running backs in NFL history, as he just has that fullback type of strength. Although Saquon has Barry in strength, I don't think he has the elusiveness and fluidity that makes Barry one of a kind. There are 10-minute montages of Barry dancing around defenses like he's at a disco hall, so it's pretty tough to compare him to anyone else. But anyways, that ability to make something out of nothing is something that I just don't think Saquon has nearly as much as Barry. When watching Saquon's games, he can put up like 200 against the Jaguars, and then 30 against the Bears. Whereas on the other side, Barry is much more consistent and can get you 100 yards, 100 yards, 100 yards in every single game he plays. That ability to be consistent no matter what team he plays against is something that elevates the best of the best over just some great running backs. Now, it's not like Barry had some great O-line or receivers to help take over. He was carrying the team on his back and still was able to do his thing game after game. You see when he goes up against guys like Emmitt Smith and the Cowboys in the 90s, and Barry is somehow able to outproduce Emmitt and sometimes win out of nowhere with a much worse team. All this is to say, Barry is much better at taking advantage of any situation, but Saquon has a unique size and power that allows him to play at such a level, and if he fine-tunes his running ability, he could easily be one of the best of all time. As of right now, I would say that Saquon's career is shaping up to being canon, but I just don't see it on the same level as Barry. If Saquon can improve his ability to work in any situation and can establish more consistency in his game for the near future, then I think he has the size and power to be on that level, or even better, but it's really just up to his play. All of this is a long-winded way of saying that I think Saquon has potential to be the next Barry, but if I were given the two running backs and could pick one, I would go with Barry 9 times out of 10. I'm curious what you guys think about this, so it'd be awesome if you guys could comment who you'd rather have, and also who you want me to talk about next. But anyways, Saquon Barkley has what it takes to be one of the best of all time. It's just up to him as to whether or not he will elevate his play to become a legend.
But today, it wouldn't work. And sooner or later, you're going to see this. Zap! Zap! Cannot! He's down!
Running, this one's going for longer than that. Inside the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, 6 for Saquon.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it would be awesome if you guys could subscribe, like, and comment down below what videos you guys want next. But anyways, see you guys soon, and peace out.